It is 7:05, we'll call the meeting to order. If everybody will please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We'll go ahead and do a quick roll call. Mayor Mosier is here. We have trustees Crawford, Lefevre, and Smith are present. Trustee Wolf is absent. We have Clerk McQuay. We have Attorney France, DPW Superintendent Wolf, and Treasurer Doucette. Also, OIC Yancek is here as well. Go over correspondence. We have a complaint from a Mr. Larry Stewart regarding parking past the handicap signs down right here at the corner.
Right in the curve.
And also Mr. Winship and Mr. Finney, both who plow, have expressed the same concern that they've had to go around, almost cause accidents.
Larry, he got this truck sideways trying to come to a stop with oncoming traffic right by that man. He was parked in that corner. And, luckily he got stopped, but it's been an ongoing issue for years when the plows try to go down through there. John knows.
Yeah.
It needs to be taken care of. I don't know if we
Is
can.
it ours or is it the state's?
It's state.
Well, it's in the village. I don't see why we can't enforce it with no parking. There's no parking within village limits, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's already marked not to park there, right?
I don't know, is it?
There's no, yeah, there's nothing there.
Right.
So it'd just be then what, police just issuing tickets for parking there?
Why don't you just put up a series of cones? Just run a series of cones down there. I mean,
Nah, they won't last. The plow will take.
Oh,
yeah, but putting a sign up isn't gonna work either.
Well,
Is it-
nothing
is it
works.
there?
I don't think,
It's
yeah.
still streets,
There's a
mainly.
van that your car
Which is-
parks there.
And the sign, the other signs say, you know, all streets, no parking.
The problem is he parks there during the day, but usually when some guy removed snow last night, he didn't clean it up too often because there wasn't much room to park in there anymore.
Yeah.
He's parking on Waverly Street now.
No,
Yeah.
because there isn't enough room there.
Who owns the red van?
It's the guy that does tax time.
Oh, Mr. Booker?
Yeah. If I got no parking sign, I'll drive one in. There in the corner. Then it'll have to be up to the officers to go from there.
I mean, in the summertime, I guess it's not that big of an issue.
But he's not here during summertime.
I mean, I don't know about any semis coming down through. Do you think that'd be an issue for them
No.
any time of the year?
Yeah. Nobody parks there during the summer, and then he parks there when he's open.
Right.
I mean, he's done it for years and years and years.
But he's not the only one that parks there.
Well, it's like this morning, I see him pick up on top of the snowbank. You drive no parking sign, if that's what you want. I think I got one. No, we're not.
Yeah?
That's simple.
Does anybody have an issue with that?
Well,
No, it's like.
if it don't, then they can get a ticket. I mean, it's tight enough coming down through with a plow, trying to plow them bricks.
Do you think you guys should back up another swipe and put that over the curb once in a while, a little more often?
Where
From the corner all the way down through?
we're talking,
Yeah.
you wanna push back over the curb?
Well, to the curb, about this far away,
Okay.
if you would.
Well, that might be because of the parking issue, I don't know. I haven't
Well,
been-
I usually go down through and make a pass, and you guys go down through and make a pass. We all can keep it over a little bit further, we'd be all right.
Alright,
It'll be lovely if somebody do something, and two black cars sitting across the sidewalk, or not quite across the sidewalk, if they park like this in the driveway and they stick this far off the road.
yeah.
Where?
Across the street in the apartment building.
But now they're parking into the sidewalk more. And when a sidewalk plow comes, he can't get through and he has to back up and then you got a big pile of snow.
Who can write tickets for that? Is that a CEO or can an officer write tickets for that?
Officer definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's blocking, they're blocking sidewalks.
So I guess,
And I'm the one that gets the dirty looks because there's snow plowed.
Well,
I
I'll
would say
talk,
for that, for the sidewalk issue, well, for either. I mean, get a hold of Jim and he can let whoever know and go issue a ticket and maybe that'll correct some of the behavior. I mean,
Man, I realize people gotta park someplace and you hate to be.
yeah,
But you can't have them hanging on the road, you can't have them hanging on the sidewalk.
no.
with that curve, push it back to the curb, you might end up with some in the sidewalk.
Sure.
That'd be all right? All right. I mean, they might even come in and bench it, there ain't no hydrants in there, is there? They might even bench it to
Well,
drop
if you just
snow.
kinda keep her tidy back,
Yep.
you know, a little bit, it helps because that gives you a little more room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I realize it's a tight.
I'll,
area out there.
I'll talk to them
Yeah.
and, when I go in tomorrow, and,
Usually I clean it up, this time on cleanup, we got off down here just at night. I wanna be off these streets by 6, that's when everybody's coming, and I was up here at 12:30 pushing snow. We brought the other guys in, they can't remember exactly what time it is, and got loaded up and got cleaned up and got the hell out of here.
yeah. Yeah, I'll see what I can, I'll talk to them tomorrow when I go to work.
Yeah, just tell them, that, you know, hammer back a little bit.
So easy resolution then is that we're gonna put a no parking sign
Yep.
right there and then any issues that need to be enforced, you'll call the police and have it done so.
That's, yeah. And that's part of their patrol, I would say.
Absolutely.
Probably, just, if I can interject, probably a sidewalk, it's just as easy to go down now and talk to them. Because I mean, I think they were parked there when I came up, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you hate to.
If it's 50 Main Street, one of the tenants came to talk to me about where she could park because she's not finding a place to park there. There's 3 vehicles for the 2 apartments and she's getting pushed out. So I told her that was really kind of between her and her landlord,
Long time ago.
that, you know, there's the place up here that the bank has, that she could talk to the bank and see if it's possible to park there, but that's private property and,
If I remember correctly, if you go around the corner alongside that building on the side street, isn't there an open area there?
That belongs to the other building though.
Oh, really?
The one on First Street with the open area,
And
that
that's,
belongs to the first place. The second place is all on its own, last I know.
If you're standing there looking at the,
yeah,
was there 3 apartments there, but they're 2 different buildings?
There's apartments
Okay.
side by side.
you know what?
If you went
I thought twice, it's still lingering.
to the right side, there's a lawn area down below. Where there almost used to be a garage underneath it.
That belongs to keep passing.
Okay. All right, then.
Okey dokey. We all good on that then?
I think so. John's all right, but
You have anything to add?
Nope.
Nope, okay. Well then,
Well, before we proceed any further,
yes.
Mr., did you read over that sewer thing that got sent to you?
The sewer law? Yes.
All right. Are we on the right grounds? Do we have the right to
Yes.
do what it says to do?
Yes.
Okay. 74 Leavenworth Street, lady calls as sewer. The other morning I got a text from Mr. Pritchard, said that he could smell sewer. He thought maybe it was the place next door, said no, they had some problems. Sent Tom up there, he looked it all over, found nothing wrong, knocked on the door, said they were not having problems. Okay. It's gonna rear its ugly head sooner or later, and sure enough, 2 days later, day and a half later, I got a telephone call, where he had sewer in her back, had water in her backyard, sewer wasn't working, and she could smell sewer. I sent Toad and Tom up, investigate, see what the problem was, cause I was out plowing. Toad come up, he says, I don't know, he says, it seems like there's nothing there. So I went up and looked. Sure enough, there's no power, I'm looking everything all over. I called Mark Pritchard, Mark come up, and I left on my way to plow, and he followed around, he went back up, and when the village put the sewer system in, the people that have electric pumps, sewer pumps on theirs, the village put panel boxes on the side of the house with a brand new main breaker. breaker runs to ours, and the power is picked up from there and run into their old panel box, whatever, so on and so forth. Somebody opened up, pulled the meter out and cut them wires for our main. And bumped them back to the house and shut the water off for our sewer. So I proceeded from there, I got a copy of our sewer law, I had it sent off the lawyer, and it says right here, I can pass this around and make copies, it says in section 7.1, no person shall maliciously or willfully break, damage, destroy, uncover, deface, or tamper with, and no unauthorized personnel should negligently break, damage, destroy, uncover, deface, tamper with any structure, that word there is beyond me. Whatever, of the equipment, which is part of the public sewer works. And it says down here in section 3, anybody found to be in violation of section 7.1 of this local law should be guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by a fine up to 1 year in jail or $1,000. Now, to get this fixed, first of all, I gotta try to find a new main breaker. Because the one that's in the lugs are seized, because first thing we did, we called National Grid up because the seal's been broke on the meter. Explained to them we did not break this seal, because we don't wanna have a problem with National Grid. Okay, the guy come out and put the seal back on it, and he says, okay. I gotta have an inspector come out from National Grid, I gotta have National Grid come out and pull the meter, have their inspector come out, that's $189. I've gotta come up with a new breaker, because I can't get the lugs out of this one. So I'm gonna have to place the breaker in the box, I'm gonna have, Mark's gonna have to come in, he's gonna have to run new wires from the meter over, because they cut them off about this long, out of the main. Okay, then I gotta rewire and get everything tied back into the house, and I can't remember if they cut enough off the house wires that I can't reconnect.
Do we know who did this?
The landowner's the one that's got it. So whoever, if she had electrical problems, and she called an electrician, and this is what he did, I guess the way I look at it, it's not really our problem. Now you know the circumstances, and how do you want me to proceed forward?
Well, we shouldn't have to, if somebody cut it, we shouldn't be the ones that have to eat it.
Right,
That's how I feel.
the law states the same.
What does the homeowner, landowner say? How long is she?
I have contacted her because I don't wanna say nothing that could run one way or another. I knew we were meeting tonight, so I just let sleeping dogs lie. We're going up the generator and pumping it down, which we are keeping track of our time on, because, you know, it's costing us money to do that too.
Is
Like
this
I
home
said,
owner occupied?
Yes.
There's a very strong indication that it's probably the landowner's responsibility there. If there were a tenant, they might claim their tenant did it, but they'd still be responsible for the acts of their tenant in protecting their property, the village's property as it goes into the house.
Well, it would go on, if my thinking is straight, it would go on the landowner's responsibility, and if a contractor that they hired came in and did it, it would be their responsibility to go after the contractor.
Right.
Yes.
It should be underneath their insurance, it would seem like, the contractor's insurance.
What, I think the first thing we're gonna say, well, I didn't know it belonged to the village. Because there's nothing on the box that says this is the property of the village of Cattaraugus, there's nothing to say this. And this house has passed hands since the sewer system's been in.
You know, what my grandma used to tell me, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
I agree, but I'm just telling you what what they're gonna say first.
Yeah.
So Jay, what would be your recommendation in regards to handling this?
You say there's no tag on it to make it clear that this, if you followed the wire, you'd see where it went, yeah? Out to the
Well,
box?
this is how I feel. If you're a qualified electrician, first of all, you don't open up, you don't cut the seal on National Grid's panel box and pull their meter out.
Yeah, you'd risk your license.
Okay. Second of all, when you open up that panel box, you see a main breaker, and you see another breaker there, before you go cutting things, would you follow that conduit and try to get an idea what's going on?
Right.
And if you see maybe it possibly went down to that sewer pump, that somebody should call and say, hey, look, this is our problem. But they didn't, they just went ahead and did it.
Is this something that could have been done more than a couple of years ago, and just
No.
now this had to be done?
Those, basically, the houses with sewer pumps on them can go 3 days well, not overflowing and not backing up. That you can use your facilities roughly about 3 days. The drains might start running slow, but usually you can get 3 days.
So they had to yank that meter within a week.
Yeah. Basically. I mean, I've been up there, that's another one of them places, it's been a thorn on our site since I've been here. I was up here not too long ago, and I think we put in 2 new floats. The wiring was a little rough, I thought I had it, but one didn't quite connect, I go back up, I got a text message at 1 o'clock in the morning, I was up there, shut the alarm off. Then I went back, and I just turned it off, I went back, when I got daylight, I went back up, and sure enough, and rewired everything, got everything straight ground, and got fixed, and everything was running, and she hadn't had problems.
So, if this resident, if you've been up there before, had to have known that that system is ours, because we were working on it.
Yeah. Well, I was on the panel box behind the house, not the main one on the side.
I think we better be talking to that landowner and finding out.
But where do we go from, as far as from a legal standpoint, so that they have to pay for the expenses that we've had to occur because of their negligence or?
I would say the first step would be to contact the police if they haven't been contacted yet, because it sounds like criminal charges should probably be levied against them for this. If there are criminal charges and they're ultimately found guilty of anything, or plead guilty to anything, the judge will order restitution. That way you don't have to worry about any kind of enforcement mechanism, otherwise they're sitting in jail.
Do we
It's a
do
pretty good
this,
enforcement mechanism.
do we do this first, or do we try and talk to the landowner to find out if there's a contractor in there that did that?
I think that you would want the police to investigate that.
Okay.
It's not up to us to do such.
No, exactly. In fact, they may want to keep certain parts of the investigation confidential, so if we start tiptoeing around in order to figure things out, it could interfere with their ability to investigate it properly.
Okay.
John, did you photograph this?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Photograph.
I talked to Jay, he said it should be photographed, so I didn't get the police involved. I said, before we go any further, I wanted him to read this because he was talking to me on the phone. I was reading this on the phone. I said, I want you to read this through, so if I miss something, or if I'm not reading it to you right. And that's where we proceeded with her, and I knew we'd be meeting tonight, so I said, that's, you know, we're all here, let's all get on the same page.
Photos would help to prove it, but that being said, John saw it and he could testify or provide evidence about what the
Yeah.
status of it all was.
I have the witness of Mark Pritchard, I have the witness of the guy from National Grid in Thompson.
Yeah.
Tom, when you and Toad went up there, did anybody come out?
Nope, there's nobody home.
Nobody know?
There's typically not anybody home during the day, at least that I've ever been working out that area.
No? Anything
So,
over you need to-
how much money do you figure we're talking, roughly?
I'm guessing roughly probably $500-600, $700, time we're all said and done, we get everybody there and it's not one of those things, we've gotta kinda get everybody in line that day,
Right.
you know?
So then you need to go ahead and get a hold of the police department and file the report and go along that way.
Okay.
Yep. Good?
That being said, if the criminal enforcement mechanism doesn't end up turning up anything, the local sewer law does provide a mechanism, the village can put whatever the cost is on their sewer bill.
Okay.
You have an address?
Yeah.
Let's see.
What is it on?
74 Leavenworth.
74 Leavenworth. Yep.
Well, it's just one of them things, I guess it's gotta be done, but you can't, you know. Anybody care to read this?
No.
No.
I've read it there.
Sewer spill based on that, is it, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perkins.
Apartments? Oh, Perkins Street, right?
Fancy lawyer.
This also says too, even, it doesn't mean that any of the voters.
I did severely. All right, Rose.
The village election resolution, I forgot to do at our regular January meeting. Basically, you're setting the hours in place for the village election to be held in March, which is held at the Fireman's Club on Memorial. and the hours would be 12 to 9 p.m. So I just need a resolution stating that.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, carried and approved.
Thank you.
Okay,
Caucuses were yesterday too.
and the caucuses were yesterday, and we
Mhm.
have for both, I believe it was unanimous, we have Wirt and Eric are
2-year.
nominated for the 2-year, and then Jason and Ms.
Mr. Boxford.
Boxford are going for the 1-year. Good luck.
Thanks.
Seeing how there's competition.
Right, I'm running against myself.
All right, Rose, start with you on the budget, shall we?
Actually, the budget is Jean's.
You wanna lead
Jean's
the way
deal.
on this?
Okay, well, since Jim's here, do you wanna go to police first?
We can do that. Get the police done and over with.
Sure.
You want more done with that, and I go have a word with him, so I can get this under my.
Yes.
Do we wanna talk to him real quick about that no parking sign that's gonna go up? So he's aware.
Makes sense.
Put a no parking sign down here at the corner of where the brick stand and the blacktop is on Main Street,
Okay,
to keep people from parking down there.
Down
so
this
it's not-
way?
Yeah, so we have a traffic hazard.
There's been some issues with the snowplow drivers not being able to get through there and have to veer off into the other lane. Almost had a couple accidents, so.
Hash marks, signs, blinking lights, whatever you gotta
I'll
do.
put some fancy red ribbon around it, maybe it'll catch somebody's eye.
And then also, you wanna tell them about the sidewalk?
Yep.
So maybe some spike strips.
No, that's me. The sidewalk, what's the address there?
Well, it's right there on wait,
On
there.
Main Street, there's 2 cars parking down here, side of the road, and they're sticking out in the road, and now they're up on the sidewalk,
Right next to First Street.
right next to First Street, you can't
I
miss it.
think it's 50, but I'm not positive.
Just
I've been
past
gone
tax
for a
time.
week, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
right.
past that.
Just past tax time, right next door.
If you would.
I.
And there's also a car down on, Scott Street, kind of,
Okay.
it might be out from the snowbank right now. Yeah, it's right on the edge of the road.
Which one?
Yeah, you can't miss it, it hasn't looked like it had been moved in about a month.
Oh, okay.
It still should have about this much snow on it.
Oh, jeez.
So the one I can't see,
The
but
one you can't see.
what I know is there,
You don't know if
through the shape of the snowbank.
That car that was on the nose, the ice car,
Yeah, this is the
this is
snow
his
car.
little sister.
Right.
This is his sister.
The offspring of the ice car.
Right?
Yeah.
It's at the same house where the upstairs window is wide open.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
TV's on, the lights are on at all hours of the day,
Yep.
with the window as far open.
Hot blood.
They like a giraffe.
All right.
There's not a red light on the porch, is there?
No.
So going over the police budget, so pretty much in regards to the hours, have they stayed the same, I presume?
Yeah.
And
I think,
then,
Can I,
chief hours went up a little bit,
400,
yeah, based off of,
cause last
This
year's
year's.
budget for the chief, it was 624, and now you got 1,040.
Right.
So it went up 416 hours.
so if you're gonna hire someone like me that enjoys working, you're gonna wanna see that full 20 hours a week, part-time, then spread amongst the others.
But now the part-time stayed the same, so would they change? They stayed the same as last year.
Did they?
Uh-huh.
Oh crap. Forgot to change that. I'll resubmit that to you with the adjustment on there.
so then what would we take 624 from the 1768 then?
Well, the police chief went up 416,
Okay, so minus 416 then, right?
but is that what everybody's agreeing to?
So,
Are we talking just hours?
yeah, just hours. So, this one from here, so then this would need to go down.
Want me to go do the math on that?
1352?
1352 is what that would be.
Thank you, Rose.
You're welcome.
How much are we supposed to subtract off by 1768?
416.
So the total line then for patrolmen would be 19,211.92. Cause we're subtracting
Yeah,
400 and what hours was it? 400?
16.
16. Crossing guards are staying the same?
Yeah.
And the same way the dog warden, or the dog, yeah, that's our warden. Okay. So,
She gets paid twice a year if she's salaried.
okay. Alright, so you're gonna subtract 5,912.60 from the 51,000. So that'll give you a total of 45,291.01. Okay, and what are we looking at in
So
regards?
essentially this is if someone you use an OIC
Yes,
does not work as much as I do, you have savings.
correct.
Okay? Okay.
It's a buffer.
There's a buffer.
Alright, and what do we have in regards to contractual services?
Added line item for a body camera, something to look into. We're gonna need a spot to store it, as far as the information taken off of it, like a secure server off the hard drive. Just one of those little boxes essentially. You can plug in as like a USB. It's like secure when you log in.
Oh, okay.
Software, it only has one spot to go and
That's it.
that's it. You can only draw off of that with password in the software. Really about $250 for the camera, about another $150 for the extras, like battery chargers, extra batteries. Then you gotta pay for the software, which is still waiting for a quote on, so. And then the hard drive, which you can get a hard drive, like a terabyte hard drive for like $80 now. Instead of $400 when they first came out.
So all around though, you're expecting no more than $800
No
on
more
it?
than 800, yeah. That's, again, that's a worst case.
What's all for training as far as $800? What's training?
It's generally set aside for, the OIC wants to go to any like leadership training type deals. I know MCC offers some, Niagara County offers some throughout the year. Also goes in for range time, for range, and it's, ammunition included in that.
Does the county do any of that stuff?
What?
Any training or, range time that we could possibly piggyback off of, I don't know.
Well, they wouldn't supply anything. We could use that range if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to still
Run your own ammo?
run our own ammo and then supply them with the monetary needs to cover the time on the range. Wanna rent the range and use one of their instructors.
Did we have, was that in a, was that in the budget last year, do you know, Gene? Training?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing's changed on that.
Can I ask, at the very first item, the portable radio, you had that in last year's budget and this year's budget?
Yeah. We, didn't get the new one this year. We just let that go,
So you're not gonna buy it this year?
not this year.
So is that money's still there?
No, it's towards the computer.
Yeah, you used it when you bought that computer.
Yeah. We still have phones we can call dispatch and a car radio that works, but that portable one in there, I don't know if it's because of the valley hill ratio that this village is in, that we can't get good portable reception. The captain, communications captain of the county that takes care of all that has been on leave since November. He had a nasty surgery he had to get taken care of, so we don't know when he's gonna be back. He's not answering any questions right now, so
Oh, jeez.
that's fine. I wish him the best. He's a good guy, I like him.
Yeah,
He's smart.
don't find that much.
Cops.
What's that?
Cops.
Yeah, we're a rare bunch, yeah.
Good bunch. Vehicle maintenance, that's staying the same at 900?
Yep, that should be fine. Computer software, as far as the desktop computer that's in there,
Yeah,
that was new when, Gene? Last year, the year before?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Alright, so we just got it hooked up last year. It had been sitting around waiting to be basically transferred, all the info transferred and everything installed. For us to continue to hook up with the county communications, that has to be upgraded. Because it was basically a bottom of the barrel Dell desktop with the weakest processor they offer.
are we better to invest the $1,200 into a better computer?
Well, it's not just $1,200 for just the computer, alright, I mean, you can get a nice i5, i7 core tower for a few $100. The rest is gonna need to be software upgrades on that, and then making sure that the county, if they're not willing to give us the software, we need to give them a little something to make sure the communications go between offices. And then, if what they're saying is true, that new software that's on our mobile computer, that we communicate with them, if we wanna upgrade all our forms, like our incident reports, arrest reports, domestic violence reports, all that, we have to pay them to pay the company to do it. They're not sure how much it's gonna cost. There was a rumor it was gonna be like 10 grand per department. But there's no determinate amount. That was the company's first initial thoughts on upgrading the county as a whole. 10 grand per department.
Holy crap.
But there might be grant money available for something like that that would
Through DOJ?
save us, yeah. Yeah, DOJ has a lot of like basic computer software upgrade grants that are out there,
Do they?
so.
Okay. So then the $1,200 that we have in for the budget is gonna go towards communicating with the county then?
Yeah, basically make sure that we can still get online with them right from the office, and since the radio doesn't work in the office, computer will work in the office.
Alright, fuel, is that staying the same three?
That went up 1,000, it's a buffer.
Can I ask on that one also? We just started the last 3 months taking gas out of your budget, and it's been averaging like 200 a month.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Well, that's good to
So-
know, thank you, Gene.
So,
$200 or?
$200 a month is what it's been averaging. It was 205 in January, 186 in December, and 203 in November. So you're averaging right about 200 a month.
Even if we went to the high of 250, which would be 3,000,
Yeah, we can
A
cut
year.
back on that.
Sweet, there you go.
So we're gonna change that to 3.
sounds good. Yep.
Jim, did you ever figure out what you get for mileage on the car? Cause I know you idle it a lot. What do we put for mileage on the car?
I have no idea. I can look.
Are you talking hours or?
You got hours and you got mileage, you know? and-
Well, let's see, what are those, monthly reports that I give you, the mileage is on there. Do a quick ad.
What is it?
I can change.
Well,
Put
more
the cars in the vehicles idle just like if you wanted to keep up with that way. Let me know.
We do it in county that way too.
December, you
I
have
don't see
that
it.
capability.
If we have the capability, we might as well do it, it would kinda give us better track.
Okay, and we don't do it.
Right.
But I'll add that to
So
my.
we're only putting 6,000 miles on, 7,000 miles. You're putting out more hours than.
I can include that in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's more
and
time
they'll have it automatically. You don't have
running
to worry
time
about
than it is actually.
They used to have, the one police car, we had something put on it
The Hobbs meter.
that would register how many was idling hours and how many.
You probably can get into the computer on that and get that.
Yeah, it's like 3 buttons and you're in on this thing. shows engine idle hours and drive time.
What would be miscellaneous expenses, pretty much?
No, that hasn't changed.
No.
That was Mike's thing. I'm assuming that's for like dinner. I have no idea.
Whatever doesn't fall under the other categories. Where's your ammunition and so forth come out of?
That was under the training,
Training?
yeah. I know we talked earlier this year, at least a couple of us, Dan and Chris and I, about possibly looking to get some training done and an AR for the car, get rid of that shotgun. Since it doesn't fit in there anyway.
It doesn't?
It's tight,
Is it?
yeah.
How much would a new AR cost roughly?
No idea. I mean, you can buy one personally for like 700.
That's a Bushmaster though, you're not getting a Colt for 700.
Well, Wyndham Weaponry. The guy that owns Wyndham used to build for Bushmaster and Colt, so
Okay. So it's still a good gun then?
still quality. That's what the county uses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know they got them from Mark over at Red Barn Guns and they gave him a discount, but I don't know what the cost was.
Gene, do you know, do we need that miscellaneous expense in there?
Based on what I've seen in the past, probably not, and if so, you could probably cut it,
Okay.
like in half, if anything.
If we cut it like, say to $750,
Yeah.
so if you wanted to get an
That's
AR,
Yeah. Go for it.
You're too easy.
Alright, I gotta ask this, do we really need an AR?
Yeah.
Make people shut
It's,
Yeah.
reason being,
In fact, I was just talking to Sharon Hoff over at the school, the superintendent about this. If we're on and something, like an active shooter situation is going on at the school, I'm more comfortable myself rolling out with an AR, a carbine, than a shotgun with buckshot and a slug, or my pistol. I mean, that's just a whole, that kind of situation's a whole different beast in itself.
Good point.
You want 30 rounds, it's gonna
I'm
come out
simply
fast.
asking, cause when people ask, I wanna,
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
I want a
Good point.
good reason.
Good reply.
And if you're stationed out, you know, if I were to post up and station outside the school, wait for backup, someone starts flying at me, I'm not gonna hit 100 yards with a pistol. Not when my blood's running so fast I can't think. Not in a stressful situation.
Yeah, you shotgun and everything else 40 yards, you.
Yeah, exactly.
and then Gene is the 5,000 for,
I can't hit a deer at 100 yards with a slug standing still or laying
Yeah,
down.
it was
so
not
I
in
know I'm not
last
gonna
year.
hit something.
We didn't have it in there last year.
With
That would go up to .2, if
You can just say you wanna spray.
what do we need it for?
That's
You just wanna
putting
spray.
money away to purchase a new police car down the line.
I think 5K is pretty minimal in regards to doing that. The 5,000 for, putting towards.
Yeah, that was the axe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, the car's going on 3 years old now, and, I mean, maintenance is good, but engine life at an idle doesn't give a car extremely long life.
7 times.
If it's diesel, that might be
I
different.
wonder, are we able to lease
There are leases available,
for police vehicles?
yes.
Because we would absolutely fall underneath that.
I've never looked into it, but I could make a couple phone calls and see what they do for leasing, like a yearly lease.
See how it would, because I mean, we fall underneath that.
Maybe.
If your typical lease is say 10,000 a year, I mean, we're not putting 10,000 miles on.
Right.
You know, we're
But
shy.
you gotta consider you're gonna lease a vehicle, and then you still have to put light bars on it, you have to put the roll, or the
They don't
bars
do
on the
that?
front. Well, that's part of the vehicle cost.
Okay.
If you were to lease it, I believe. don't have to put it on yourself, but if you're leasing a patrol vehicle, I'm pretty sure they put all that stuff on there for you, but you still have to pay
Outright.
for it as part of the cost of the lease. So what you would pay normally for, you know, a 10,000 mile a year
Leases are gonna be the same,
on
because you
a
got extra.
Camry is, you know, 200 some bucks a month, you might be looking at double that with all the equipment on it.
Right.
So you're looking like 500 bucks a month.
Which would be 6,000 a year.
6,000 a year, so.
So I'm wondering if, could you check though,
I will.
if you could, like, for.
I know DeLacy does the leasing up in Alma there, or, yeah, DeLacy, on Transit.
Yeah.
Because the county buys all their cars through them.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they don't do any leasing, but I had heard that they are starting to do the leasing there, so I'll call up to there and check.
Just for,
That, we should be able to piggyback on the county's bid too.
absolutely.
Sure.
No problem.
Hmm?
That should be no problem.
No, that would be for buying, but not in regards to leasing, because they buy.
Yeah, but if we want to, when we're buying, we usually can't piggyback on their bid and
Oh, absolutely.
do
Sure.
that.
I don't see what to put in.
Now, can I just interject? Back on personal services, just so the board realizes, that's based on 3% increase.
Yes.
I
That's a
don't know
three.
if that was mentioned.
Say that again?
And it's based on a 3% raise.
All the rates,
Everything is 3% across the board on personal services.
How much does that normally go up in the past?
3.
I have to go back, I don't, Jim says 3, I don't know.
Because
I mean, that's not
every
set
propo-
tonight, but that's.
every proposal Mike has put in, at least however long he's been here, has been 3%. I don't know whether they've all been accepted or not, I don't know, because I asked him. I deferred to the guy that's done it before. So. He helped me out with this.
did he,
Yeah.
how is he?
He's doing all right. He's got a full leg brace on his left leg. He's mobile with a cane.
Is he gonna retire, you think?
Don't know. I'm thinking it's leaning that way, but nothing's set in stone.
That's Alright, so for the 16.7, it's gonna be changed to 13,946.70.
We're not doing okay. We're rounding things up.
Also, or if I increase my budget by 10,500, I should just increase it by 11,000.
No, 500 is okay, but I'm not doing pennies.
Not doing pennies.
So for personal services-
10,502 cents.
What did you put in there? I got 45,291 for personal.
10,501
Okay.
dollars.
That's fine.
5,000 for equipment, 8947 for expense.
Okay, so for,
Because the
Personal-
5,000 is coming out of,
The 5,000 goes, that Jim had down here, goes up into .2.
where's the .2 on here? I see .1 and .4.
Yeah,
Or is it?
Right, I gotta add the .2 in.
Okay.
I'll
it's on your
resubmit it with
worksheet that I
.2.
sent you.
Okay. So then. So and then for .4, you have 8,947?
.4, 8947. Which makes your total police budget 59,238.
Okay.
Which if you take out the 5,000, it's approximately $638 more than last year.
5,000 for the reinstatement of the police
If you, yeah, if you didn't include that, if you just based it upon last year's, it would be $638 a month.
That's minus the 5K, right?
Yeah, if you didn't have that 5,000 there.
Okay. So the increase is then 5,638, right? Total. And you have a total of, so for services, or for contractual, so for the .4, you have 59,238 then, total?
The .4 is your contractual expense, that's the .4, that's 8,947.
Oh, that's 8,947, the total,
It's 59,238.
yes, I'm sorry. You have any issues with that?
I don't, up to the board.
I mean, as far as right now, as far as the number.
Right now, I don't have any.
You have anything else to add, sir?
Not at the moment.
All right, you wanna talk to him, and then we'll go to Rose for her budget then?
Yep.
Okey-dokey. Is it okay if we go to Rose? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Miss Rose,
You want to do Mr.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. I'm here till,
You're here till the end.
you can do
All
me
right,
last.
what can we do for you?
I'm ready.
I was here for the Cattaraugus Free Library, you know, we were asking for, to get our, increased. Wages have went up again, you know, minimum wage, that's all we pay. And we're, trying to get more out of all the ones that give us, you know, money, so.
Now, in regards to wages, are you guys based on state or are you based on federal?
This is a state, right? The state requires this, you know, what is it, $9 an hour now? I think that's what it is. You know, just, well, it went up at the first of the year, so.
Yeah, they have to pick a
It was
state.
gonna-
Okay,
It's only
that's
local
all I was
governments that
asking.
get exempted from that.
I didn't know if they had a.
No, state doesn't give exemptions to that to nonprofits, I don't think.
Where's library?
That'd be under category 7410.4. I can't tell you what page it's on.
410.
Page 3 of the general, up near the top.
And then right here,
Right here. For the,
8742. Right one?
Yep.
this here?
I don't have that.
You don't have that?
Oh, right there. Never mind.
4,000. On this expense sheet,
Thought I
The
made
eyes
a
are
copy.
first to go.
on the expense sheet you're looking at, the first column is what it was as of May 31st, 2014. The second column is what it was for May 31st, 2015. Then the next two columns are this year's budget is the third column. The fourth column is what's been spent through the last meeting.
Okay, so in 14, the library had a budget of 4,000. 15, they had a budget of 4,250, and they spent 4,500.
No, they spent 4,250. That's what you actually spent.
But the budget was,
The first two columns, 4,000 you spent for 2014, the end of 14. The next column is what you spent through May 2015. And then the last two columns are for this year's budget and what's been spent. So under the library, in 2014, you spent 4,000.
right?
2015, you spent 4,250. And in this budget, you spent 4,500.
And that's what the budget is 4,500. Okay, I gotcha. Okay,
And we're just, you know, I think I already talked to you, trying to get us up to 6,000, but, you know, wages went up. Well, they went up last year, then, you know, the state required this to go up again this year. And we're still running almost $4,000 in the red. We take it from memorial funds and stuff like that, and more fundraising. You know, we're trying to get it, we're doing very minimal repairs on the building just because the budget, we just don't have the budget to do anything.
What did the town give you? I don't remember. They go
Four thousand, and I don't know, Rose, you might know, did they?
I'd have to go up front and
I
see if
don't
it was
remember
changed
what
this
they-
year, I don't remember, I'm sorry.
I think you told me they didn't give us any money, they'd run their budget so far over the.
I can check real quick and see what the town did.
Alright, so you're requesting 6,000 then?
Yes.
In regards to the library, I mean, I haven't been there since I was a little young guy. How many kids would you say you have there on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis?
Kids or actual people?
Let's just say people that utilize the free library, it's not just limited to kids.
Right.
Because I didn't bring the director's report, she normally for the month gives me all of that, I didn't bring the director's report. You have one with you?
No, I have the policies, I didn't make me.
What'd you say, Rose, 4250?
4250 the town is giving the library this year.
So it's up 250?
I know they were having an awful time keeping their cap down, and I don't think, from what I heard, they didn't do too good, did they?
They didn't stay under the cap.
And so this is mostly due to the cost of the,
Most all of it is due to wage increases, you know, everything else is holding fairly steady, I mean, it's just.
Have you received the library budget in comparison to area libraries?
it's very minimal.
Oh, no, I mean, like, we are like, what, fourth from the bottom?
Well, this is 2018, but it hasn't changed much. We do have, you know, that's the library system, the Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, Allegheny County. And that's where we fall in spending money. I think that's per person in the district or something, I'm not exactly sure.
Right,
That's
so,
what I'm looking for. Do I have a better one?
You think?
No, not really. Right there. They're at 3253. Randolph's at 2901. Yeah, we're substantially lower than everybody else in our area within a 15-mile radius. I mean, you have Gowanda, it's $12 higher per person, per capita. Randolph is 13. Little Valley
this is
is,
the contribution, right? This is the contribution, is that what it's based on?
This is just based on what our budget is, that, you know, the money we receive and stuff, what we're actually, you know,
Per person,
Per
that pays
person.
into it?
yeah.
Okay,
so what should we do?
that's crazy low.
I mean, I realize there's a lot of other ones crazy low too, but.
Yeah, I mean, you got Dunkirk is below us.
I don't know what
Oh,
that
yeah.
is, you know, Dunkirk.
Well, they probably have
They have a larger
Large.
population.
or a large memorial accounts, you know, people that don't, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Well, they did have here in Cattaraugus until they started spending it off to, you know, prior boards did not come and ask. They said, you know, we got it, well, they were using interest, and then when the interest, you know, they started spending the principals and when I go become part of the board, I said, we gotta go over and ask for money, you know. Otherwise, we'd have been within a few more years, we'd have to close the doors.
I understand Olean has a much bigger library system, bigger population than us, but our budget for the library in Cattaraugus is 30, roughly.
Well, this year, we will receive like 36 and stuff, but the whole thing will be 38 is what we're,
Right.
you know, with the disbursements and everything, we figure it's gonna be at 38.
And that pays 2 part-time wages, which is like half of it, it's like 17,000 or something for the girls' maid.
So in regards to how many people you have there regularly, weekly, how many would you say are utilizing the library?
I think we're right up around 200 and some per week and stuff, you know. I was there again today and it's busy just constantly.
Right. Yeah, I've never been in there, it's been dull.
Well, they do have their zone, I know,
Yeah.
I have run it when nobody else could be there and went, just checked. You have your hours where nobody comes in and then you have other times when you can't handle everybody that comes in the door.
I'd also like to say too, and Jason could even attest for it, most of the repairs, everything that happens in there is personally doing it himself, to save the cost.
Word and I went over one day, they killed my hand taking out stuff from the basement.
You know, he's the handyman, carpenter, fix it,
You're the overseer.
and that's pro bono.
Well, I've done it all my life, you know, my wife was director for almost 10 years, you know, I just kind of picked up when she passed away, I just kind of picked up on things. Of course, my uncle Robert Earhart, you know, he used to be on the board, and he used to do all our maintenance for free.
Right.
Hey Rose,
Hey, what?
could you make a copy of this, please? So I'll get you to make a copy.
I got caught, you know,
Just that, I just like to have a copy to save,
You can burn me one too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I would like one. Geez,
I
thank
shall
you.
make 5.
The library is getting new carpet finally, after how many years?
we've been kind of trying to figure out how long it's been in there, you know, like my wife, Kathy, parent, you know, that just left, was there about 10 years, and my wife was there about 10 years, and it was there when my
Right.
wife started, so I said, it's pretty near 20 years old, and we're finally,
I mean, it's definitely needing it. That's taking a hit on the budget and what they've got, and
now that comes out of that bullet grant, and that's money that we could have spent, you know,
Right.
paying wages and stuff, but eventually, well, like that. You keep reading our insurances and everything else, and they say, you know, anything that could cause a trip or a hazard and stuff, you gotta take care of, and,
right.
we got tears and stuff in the carpet, well, yeah, you know, it's,
Yeah.
We've all waited a
We
little
already
bit.
got the.
All right, so we put it in there, we'll see what we can do.
okay, thank you.
No, thank you for coming, and this was really nice to see in regards to knowing where we do stand, and it's nice to hear that a lot of people are utilizing the library and are grateful for its services, and we thank you for everything that you do for running a good operation with it and doing the best you can.
$154.50 Bemis Point, really?
Huh?
Bemis Point is at $154? Wow. That's insane.
Patterson Library.
Must do a lot of reading.
I believe so,
Yeah, that's a nice library.
yes.
Okay, y'all set?
I think so, right? We need anything else, Med?
No, we're good, Ed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you
Appreciate
for your
it.
volunteer service. We appreciate it.
I'll see you soon.
Okay. Saturday, huh?
Yeah, have a busy weekend.
Have a good night.
All right, we ready for Rose?
Yep, that's up to that.
Rose, you're up.
Move show.
Everything's on the paper in front of you.
Which paper?
One she submitted.
Should be right after the general bundle.
Well, I kinda sorta
Mixed
shuffle pages.
them up.
I got it.
The one that says Village Cattaraugus balances.
No. Okay. This one.
Would that one be all,
It should be in these.
I'm guessing, Rick, they're probably in those other pictures, aren't they?
I would think so.
One or two of you picked up your copy of my budget
Right.
previously.
Yeah.
Did you steal it on?
Not at all, actually.
Working on it?
Yeah. Alright.
come to all the good meetings.
Real big one.
This is gonna be super exciting.
God, I would be wanting to shoe myself.
Reimbursed the town.
No,